Alright guys, what is going down? It's your boy Freezy and we're out here in the middle of the day getting it. Something a bit different, you know. Normally I do vids like this at night time, but I wanted to do this one here today and it just doesn't happen to be night time. So there's no deep reason behind this. There's no always change. She's filming these vids in the middle of the day, but I want to really talk about something here which I've been meaning to talk about for the last couple of years and I just never got around to doing the vid. There was a point where I really wanted to speak on this and for whatever reason I just never did, and that's always kind of sat with me as something like, dude, you need to talk about this. But then, you know, things happen in life, you get busy, all this kind of stuff, things change. But today I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna make this video. So what I want to talk about with you guys today is this whole idea of not feeling big enough, man. As a man, as a male, I don't care if you're actually someone who is actually skinny, or if you're someone who trains and you feel like you're too skinny and you're not big enough. This is something that no one talks about, I feel. It's a really serious topic and I want to give you guys some real good perspective here and show kind of how I got my head around this stuff. I'm not gonna lie, when I first got into the gym when I was 13 years old, I did not have body image issues. I was not going to the gym because I felt like I wasn't good enough. Sure, there's an extent of realizing, hey, I want to get big. You know, I like Dragon Ball Z as a young kid. I like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I look up to this guy. Even now in this day and age, you know, that was, what, 15 years ago for me when I was 13. Now in this day and age, I can't even imagine the pressure of what you see in terms of people looking jacked everywhere, especially on social media, all this stuff. And it's one thing that you need to realize, like I was saying for myself, I got in the gym because I loved it and I enjoyed it, and it was like that. And there were points, you know, as I got more results, it became, you know, it's not good enough, you need to keep going. But it's almost like that healthy thing where it's like you understand where you're at and where you want to be, and there's no point in saying, well, if you're not where you're at, you just give up, because that's more unhealthy than saying I'm not good enough. So there is a healthy aspect of that, but there gets to this point, and this is what I'm seeing more and more so often, especially with social media nowadays in this day and age. You guys know 4 years ago, whatever it was now, I think it was about 4.5 years ago, I used gear and I was pretty open about that on the channel. And I talked about the reasons why I did it. You know, for me, someone right now currently looking at me, I'm sitting at about 82 kilograms. I think that's about 176 to 180 pounds. You know, that is a healthy, natural weight for me. That is not something that comes naturally in terms of I'm just like this. You know, I'm athletic and I'm strong and I've got a bit of muscle on my frame, because I've worked extremely hard and I continue to work extremely hard to uphold this. And that's my set of standards. But here's the thing, and I want you guys to know this, and this is something I've even been struggling with recently. It's so easy to just not feel big enough and to not feel good enough with where you're at. You see people who are better than you, and this is what I want to really talk about in this vid, is the whole idea of taking steroids. And you know, you guys know this got me 4 years ago. I was training for the love of it, and then I just started looking around. You know, I was putting all my stuff online. I was lean and like a pretty similar weight to what I am now, pretty naturally achievable for my body. Took a lot of hard work, but it got to a point where I was like, man, I don't know how I feel in the gym next to these guys who are just huge. And clearly that's because it's huge that people take steroids to get big, and a lot of people do this. And I'm not here to judge anyone and say, hey, if you're on steroids, you're a douchebag, anything like this. Far from it. Everyone can do whatever the fuck they want to do in life. But I need to say, man, don't fall into the pressure of thinking you need a quick fix. You know, with anything in life, when it comes to building your physique, when it comes to building a business, making a quick buck, the quick fix is never going to be sustainable. And it's just going to hurt you more than it's going to give you that reward. If you watch my vids for the last few years, you'll see, you know, what happened to me. I've documented really personally my journey, my thoughts on this. You can see that those kind of things if you go back on my channel. I'll leave some links in the description box. But I want to say here, man, for me, when I got to that point and when I came off gear and I lost a lot of my gains, and I was left in the thought of, you know, what the hell did I just do to my body? It was cool at the time, felt like Superman, and then came off this stuff and it was just massive regret of like, why did you do it, man? You didn't need to do that. You look great the way you are. You've hit this point naturally where you're great and you're athletic and you're strong, and like but it wasn't good enough, you know, because of all the stimulus around. And I'm someone who I consider myself to, especially now, here's the thing, 4 years later, I'm so far past that, yet still, I do comps last year, I'm competing against guys who are natural, man. Like, and when I get competitive and I'm going towards a competition and, you know, I'm coming 5th and 6th, my immediate thought is, imagine, you know, you can win this, I reckon, if you jumped on some gear. And I want you guys to know that this isn't an easy decision for me to say, hey, I'm not putting that stuff in my body anymore. There's days, even now for me, where I'm just like, dude, especially in that competitive mindset, you know, if I can look good like this and I can be good like this, I can be even better. Hey, imagine if I do a cycle properly and get on this stuff. For me, though, that doesn't align with what I believe and who I am as a person anymore. But like I said, there's that temptation there, and this is the problem. I experienced this after all the bad stuff I've been through. How about the young kids out there watching? I know there's a lot of you guys who watch my channel, you're a lot younger. I know here in Australia, New Zealand, especially Australia, kids jumping on gear at like 17 years old, and now there's all the SARM shit and all the stuff around. And for what? You're gonna train for 5 months and not think you get big enough, and then you're gonna jump on the SARMs crap because your friends in the gym are doing it and they're seeing great results quicker than you? You need to think about your actions, man. Don't just jump into something just because it looks cool or someone's promoting it or whatever it is. You know, there's this other side to it. You need to, especially as a young kid, it's so easily to be influenced. You need to say, hey, is this stuff actually good for me? Or not just, oh man, my friend's getting sick gains on this, bro. It's been like 1 month. Like, it's hard for me, man, because I'm in this spot, honestly, for me personally. I've got friends who run gear. I've got friends who do SARMs, sell SARMs even, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm in this middle position where, you know, I don't 100% agree with it. And that's not from a like, oh, I think I'm above anyone who's on gear or anything like this. It's just from a point of like, I know how many people are taking this stuff out of insecurity and trying to get that quick fix and thinking it's going to solve everything for them. But the truth, at the end of the day, it's not. It never is, man. And you know, even for me growing up, and as I got into this fitness industry and stuff, you just start seeing guys and you don't feel big enough, and it's all this kind of stuff, and it's like, big enough, like, it's just funny, like what we idolize and can look up to. There's a point where something's not naturally attainable for a lot of us. You know, there's people, I know a lot of you guys who follow me, you say, Freeze, like the way you look is sick. Like, you're my dream physique. Other people, I know I get people who are on gear and they come to my channel all the time and they're like, you look like shit, you're small, do you even lift, all this stuff. And it's just a stupid perspective thing, and it's like, it's pretty unhealthy from a lot of these bigger guys who, you know, so juiced up and I look like I don't lift, yet to some people I'm their dream physique and what's attainable. And it's like, it's all just a matter of perspective. And I wanted to say here, something that really helped me, and I hope can help a lot of you guys, is to start seeing, you know, like, as soon as you start getting into this fitness industry, you're looking at the biggest dudes, man. You're looking at the most jacked guys, the most genetic freaks. You're literally comparing yourself to these phenoms or people who are running, let's be honest, a lot of gear and steroids. And it's like, if you're comparing yourself to that, what are you gonna do? It's gonna be there, that influence of, I need to take this to look good enough, you know, like, oh, I'm not seeing the changes in 6 months. Guys, go watch my How I Built a Good Physique with Bad Genetics video. I'm gonna link that first motherfucking thing right here in the description box. Go and watch that video and watch my journey, my natural progression. It didn't happen quick. I made a lot of mistakes. But if you watch that vid, I'm sure you can cut down what I've done in 8 years of my overall when I kind of built a good physique. You could probably do that in 3 or 4 by learning from my mistakes. I'm gonna link that video there. Definitely go check it out. But even for some people, 3 or 4 years, that's not quick enough. It's gotta be like, yo, six months, maybe I can blow up. Take some Deca and whoa, you're a balloon. Do you really think that stuff's like good for you? You think that's healthy? And that's another thing, man. Like, when you start stacking all this shit, these are illegal drugs, man. Like, I know people, it's like I said, I'm on this middle bit of the fence where I've got good friends and people, you know, I really like and like as people, but you know, they're on gear and stuff. It's a hard one for me. I don't judge them for that, but I just know what it's like to be that guy who never felt big enough and actually achieved some great stuff naturally and training for my goals for what I enjoyed. and then to almost be sabotaged by the still, you're not good enough, man. And that's a hard thing to deal with. You know, one thing that really changed it for me was Conor McGregor a few years ago, when he was coming up on the scene, his fight career was taking off, all the stuff. And you know, a lot of these fighters, they're smaller guys, but they're just so athletic looking, even sprinters and stuff like that. Who are you looking up to, man? Like, are you looking up to someone that's completely, not even unattainable, but like, the fact when I started saying, hey, whoa, here's a new inspiration in my life. Not just all these big jack dudes, like this guy who's a fighter, he's probably weighing like 160 pounds. I look at him and I'm not like, oh, he's a scrawny bitch. And yet some people, like, if you looked in the fitness industry, someone of Conor McGregor's size, if they were doing fitness content and stuff, you'd think, oh, this guy's not that big, like, why would I follow him and stuff? But it's like that perspective thing of it's a different industry, it's a different side of things. So I think it's so important to start looking elsewhere for your role models and not just thinking that, you know, the biggest is better. Don't get me wrong, I got a lot of respect for all these jacked guys who are, you know, even the Mr. Olympias, all these competitors. I follow all that, I get right into that. For me, my passion is building a good physique, building muscle. I like looking at freaky guys and stuff like that and saying, whoa, that's freaking inspiring. Look how big that guy's arms are, those shoulders, those cap delts, all that kind of stuff. But just know, man, just because you're not there doesn't mean you have to get down on yourself. And I know a lot of people do. I know a lot of people message me, man. And honestly, here's one thing as well. You'll be pretty damn surprised. A lot of people message me, they send me photos of how they're looking. And they're like, oh, Freeze, I've been lifting for 3 or 4 years. I feel like I don't look like anything. I look at these guys' photos and what I see is a solid frame. And I'm like, I message them back. I'm like, dude, you just need to do an actual shred, cut some body fat. And for a lot of people, you'll be surprised if you're watching this, you've been training for a while, but you don't think you're big enough to shred, do a damn shred. Get as lean as you possibly can. See what muscles underneath. See how you look. You'll be really surprised. Like I said, these guys like Conor McGregor and stuff, they're lean machines. They're not the biggest guys, but like, it's that healthy, natural sustainability. And I think it's people like that and physiques like that that should, you know, we should look up to. I'll give some props here on YouTube. People like Rob Lipsett, Joe Delaney. There's guys, and these guys help me as well. They give me hope because I see a lot of guys and I see them doing gear and I know there's fake natties and all this stuff. I'm like, man, maybe I'm in the fitness scene, you know, maybe if I did a cycle ride, I could get all like this. You know, there's some guys out here on the scene, like I said, Rob Lipsett, Joe Delaney, just a couple of friends of mine who I figured like, seeing people like them being okay with their side, it's just that thing of being okay with it. You know, at what point do we say, oh, we're not good enough? And you know, I'm at a point, like I said, I feel good enough with where I'm at. It gets that point where I'm competing and my mindset changes and I start to think a bit differently. But for the most part, bring it back. I'm gonna put some footage on screen right here. This is me peak. For what I look like now, it's just because I'm holding a bit more body fat. I don't look as crazy as this. Right now, I could go on a shred for 4 weeks and I'd look just like this. And even how I look now. So what, I'm at a more healthy body fat where I'm not so depleted and dialed in and killing myself with my diet. You know, I'm at a natural, healthy body fat. I should be happy with where I'm at. And I am. But sometimes I'm not. And, you know, that's hard to deal with sometimes. But it's just that getting that mental fortitude built up of knowing, hey, you're good enough how you are. You're doing the right things. And that's the thing. If you're someone who's watching this, don't feel big enough, just start doing your journey. Start doing the right things. Aim towards where you want to get to. But don't hate on yourself, man, for not being there yet. It's like anything. You're trying to build a big business in life. You're trying to be successful. My business isn't doing $1 million revenue. I've been doing this for 3 months and I've got 5 sales on my toothbrush business, which I've started. I'm going to get depressed about it. Don't do that either, man. Say, hey, this is where I'm at. It's a beautiful thing. What can I do every single day? How can I get to where I want to be? You know, stuff just doesn't come for nothing in life. But unfortunately, there are these things in this world we live in, these quick fixes. If you want to make a quick buck, you make something hyped up and it's not a good quality product. You undercut the market and it's shit. Or you overprice on something and you don't deliver. And there's people that make money like this. People that, you know, overdo on steroids and stuff. They've got no training base underneath them. If they jumped off, that'd be nothing. It's just the world we live in, man. But I'll tell you here, firsthand, your best results you're ever going to get in life, the most satisfying stuff, it's going to be the stuff that you do in terms of not taking the shortcuts, man. It's the stuff of the grit and that's where the most reward lies. You're day in, day out, you're on yourself, you're working for that positive progression. That's where it's at, man. So I just wanted to do this video here to say, hey, you know what? It's okay to be skinny. Stop comparing yourself to what we see so prevalently in terms of the best, you know. Just keep going, man. Don't expect something for nothing as well. But I'll tell you, shortcuts aren't always the way either. So I'm gonna end the vid here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you on the next one.